Welcome back to Real Pro Wrestling. We're down to our final match at 184 pounds between the number 2 and number 3 seeds.
Tim, our second semifinal match is between Brandon Eggum and Brad Vering. Eggum won a close one, and Vering won big in the quarters.
You know what? Brad Vering did win very big. These real professional rules are perfect for his style of wrestling. He's a Greco wrestler, and it hasn't been that long since he was a national champion at the University of Nebraska, where I went to school. I think Brad Vering has the opportunity to go all the way to be the Real Pro national champion.
But once again, before they wrestle, let's take a quick side trip and meet these wrestlers at home on Real Pro Wrestling.
I'm Brandon Eggum, and I wrestle for the Minnesota Freeze. We're out in the middle of the lake right now. It's completely frozen solid, 2.5 feet of ice. See if we can catch ourselves a fish. So this is it. This is where we get it done. Basically think about 3 things before I go and wrestle. First thing I think about is being prepared to go to battle. Make sure that I'm aware that I'm going to have to fight hard. Those teeth, doesn't brush very often, does he? The second thing I start thinking about is all the time that I put into wrestling, all the running I've done, all the sprints, all the weight training, all the hours down the wrestling room. And the third thing, I visualize myself wrestling my opponent, and everything's positive. Nothing but positive thoughts.
Got him.
The most important thing for me is to wrestle as hard as I can. If I walk off a match and I win 3-1 and I could have beat him 5-1, then I walk off the match disappointed. I know each and every time I go out to wrestle, I want to wrestle the best that I possibly can.
My name is Brad Vering. I wrestle at 84 kilos. I love the outdoors, you know, it's great. Fresh air, trees around you. It makes it feel kind of primitive, you know, kind of back in the older days. I'm an avid fisherman. I love to fish. I've got a boat in Colorado. I do a lot of fly fishing on the rivers up in the mountains.
Wrestling's one of those sports where you get out of it what you put into it.
As far as conditioning goes, you just do everything you can do to tear your body down, lifting weights until you can't lift anymore.
My goal is to be a world and Olympic champion, you know, and to win Real Pro Wrestling along the way.
You got to do what it takes to build that mental toughness and to build your body to be, you know, the best in the world.
You know, I definitely need times like this, you know, where I can come out here and really refresh myself. As far as being therapeutic, it's just the best psychologist you could ever have. I mean, it makes you want to go back and work hard in whatever you do.
Now that we've met our 2 competitors, let's see them battle on the mat.
All right, here we go with our next match at 184 pounds from the New York Outrage, Brad Vering. His opponent from the Minnesota Freeze, please welcome Brandon Eggum.
We welcome you back to the 184-pound semifinal Real Pro Wrestling battle between the number 2 and number 3 seeds, Olympian Brad Vering and world silver medalist Brandon Eggum. I'm Tim Johnson along with Olympians Rulon Gardner and Nate Carr. Fellas, this is going to be very interesting to see who wins the right to fight Mo Lawal for the 184-pound national title.
Right now, I know Brad Vering is not far removed from his NCAA championship in 2000. He has a great double leg. He has great Greco experience. This is it. Front headlock position. He feels comfortable all in all aspects of wrestling. Right now, I think he's going to be victorious.
And Brandon Eggum is a world runner-up. You know, and he's been in the national finals twice. You know, the guy can wrestle. This is going to be a great match. Both guys should be in great shape, so expect some great wrestling.
Brad Vering representing New York Outrage and Brandon Eggum represents the Minnesota Freeze.
2 great wrestlers. Right now, look at Eggum. He actually feels comfortable down on the mat, down in position.
But there's a go behind by Brad Vering. Boy, that was good. He takes it, and actually he did that pretty easy.
You know what? I think that's what Brad, you know, brings to the mat. He has so many different aspects of wrestling. It's pretty amazing.
Both up. Center. Well, Brad goes out first with that 2-point lead. Stop. Stop. It's going to be a good match. Brad Varian's come a long way. I mean, he's just getting tougher and tougher and tougher.
Minute 40 left in the first period. Varian out 2-0. Some people say that Eggum resembles his former teammate Brock Lesnar, The Rock, who is now a big star himself.
He is. Went from amateur wrestling, winning the NCAA championship at the University of Minnesota, all the way to the WWE, where he went and became a wrestling superstar in professional wrestling, and now is actually on the practice squad, Minnesota Vikings team. And look at that, Brad Varian for the push out for 1 point. Great technique. Brad is controlling every aspect of this match. He's got the lead 3-0 with a minute and a half left.
Yeah, he's good. Brad's good. Yeah, he has a great future in wrestling. He's really taking it to him, shoots good. He has great Greco experience. He's just an all-around.
And Brad Varian, made the 2004 Olympic team. 2002, 2003 became, 2 years in a row, 5th place at the World Championships in Greco-Roman. That's a great task. It's a great foundation for a great future. I know Brad Varian is going to finish his career off by getting better every day, and I think Real Pro Wrestling is part of that key to becoming the best wrestler you can. And America has and will become the better wrestlers by opportunities to wrestle in Real Pro Wrestling.
Varian, Nebraska Cornhusker national champion. Eggum, an All-American, twice runner-up for the Minnesota Gophers, representing the Minnesota Freeze here. And Varian, the New York Outrage.
Now this is the bonus position. Look at this. How disrespectful right now. Brad Varian is attacking. Brad Varian scored 3 points, and he's the one that's getting put down. Eggum gets to put him down to where he can lift up the body lock. I think right now in the reverse body lift, Brad Varian has the advantage because he works this every day. Eggum may not be in position, but if he wrestled it as a younger child in Greco position, he will know what to do. I don't know if he'll be able to score on Brad Varian being the seasoned veteran Greco.
Well, Nate, I think Rulon makes a good point. I mean, 3-0, he's had the pressure on. What do you think?
I agree. Just maybe the referees, the officials are seeing a different match there, and that's the way they called it.
Brad Varian right now is feeling comfortable, looking at sitting down, hanging out, having a good time. He's got nothing to worry about. They're coming back up to the feet. 23 seconds left the first period. Had 3-0. The opportunity to go to the finals of Real Pro Wrestling.
They're back to neutral, back to regulation time. Look at that shot by Brad. Man, great penetration. He lowered his level. Look at that. That's why he's the best. Oh my goodness, no takedown. He got a little sloppy, but if he did it once, he can do it again.
But you know what? Brad Varian is feeling good, feeling comfortable about himself. But you know what? There's no compensation. You have to put it all on the line right now. I know Brad's going to bring it out there. Brandon's got to come back and do something that opens up the match.
Well, I'll tell you what, he'll be able to if it has anything to do with physicalness because he's a trainer, and we're going to come back and see what Brandon Eggum can do to get the score closer than his 3-0 deficit to Varian. We'll be right back. Pull you down.
He comes out counter shoot too. He snaps it down, moves out, and then counter shoot. Get to his legs.
Right away. Right. We're back. Brandon Eggum, you're looking at him going back up to the center of the mat. And here is how Varian scored in the first period.
Great single leg. Reaches out for the single leg. Comes around, does a little sweep. Pulls back. Look at Brad, feeling confident and cocky about himself. He's going to come out, and I know he's going to back it up here in the second period. His conditioning is peak performance. And right now, he's been pushing himself, and he's in control of this match. 3-0.
Yeah, Brad's a real warrior. He's
action red.
He's moving good. Ooh, nice pull down with the head. He should put him to the mat.
Brandon Eggum, world silver medalist. He has knowledge. He's got to open up. He's got to let go of himself. He's got to start having some fun here. If not, this match is going to be over before he knows it. And he didn't even open up and didn't take one chance.
Look at Brad trying to get to the corner there, trying to score.
He's really controlling that head.
He is. He's tough. He's got it tight.
But the one thing about this position, the front headlock, what he's doing, he's actually going across his throat and cutting the wind. So right now, look at Brandon. He's probably maybe a little bit confused where he's at because he can't breathe.
Oh. Got blood on your ear.
A little blood time.
A blood time.
I think it's Brad that's bleeding.
Yeah.
His ear's bleeding.
Right now they're going over to clear the blood off, wipe him down, make sure that there's no possibility of that blood being spread across the mat. Right now they're doing the sanitary thing. That's the good thing about wrestling, is we always think about the health and the support of the wrestling.
Brad Varian is real tough, though. He's wrestling good. He's a real champion, I'm telling you.
He's had the upper hand so far, and he's kept the pressure on. There's 2:20 left. Here we go in the second period, the second and final period.
Here we're back at it. Look at Brad Varian. Great, great strategy, great, experience. This real pro wrestling. There's been some of the Greco wrestlers so far that haven't done that well. Right now, Brad Varian has the complete skill. He's beaten a world silver medalist in freestyle. Brad Varian, I think he's going to bring the complete package in the finals. I look forward for him advancing here into the finals and becoming a national champion here at Real Pro Wrestling.
Well, I'll tell you what, Rulon, he showed control in the match. Brandon really doesn't have anything for him. I mean, he just has nothing, no offense. He can't even get in on his legs. And look at that. Brad's pulling him down. He's really controlling the center of the mat. He's just doing a great job.
Action red.
He's performing well.
Minute 30 left in the match. And Varian continues to lead 3-0 and continues to keep the pressure on. Brandon Eggum just hasn't been able to penetrate at all.
I'm finding ways that Brad Varian can improve his technique, and right now there's nothing more he needs to do. He's probably going to get a caution for this because he's chopping, chopping across the throat, blocking his breathing, not being able to breathe. Brad Varian got called for it, bringing him back up, another blood timeout.
They're going to have to wrap him here pretty soon.
Going to have to give him the Dan Gable rap, the legend of wrestling in the U.S.
And he's in the house, and several other legends in the house for this Real Pro Wrestling semifinal at 184 pounds.
And a lot of times you look at wrestlers, sometimes they have the thing that's called cauliflower ear. That's where the ear gets actually fluid buildup from a bruise, and the fluid cannot drain. So a lot of times their ears fill up with fluid. That's why some wrestlers, if you see, will have these weird looking ears and you think there's something wrong with them, and all it is from the contact. And a lot of times those ears sticking out will actually create an opportunity to get a cut.
Well, there's Brad going for another score there. He might throw him here. Oh, man.
But he has another dominant move.
Yes, he's controlling the match, and he's controlling the head. In wrestling, if you control the wrestler's head, you can move him wherever you want him to go because the body's going to follow the head. So that's what he's doing. He's really controlling that head. Stand on him tough.
Neutral.
He's dominating him.
Wow. Brad Varian, great technique. Dedicated wrestler, committed. Right now he's had 5-0 going into 35 seconds left. He has complete control of this match.
That was just earlier in a parterre position, but he's had a couple of takedowns. He's out to 5-0 lead, and there's only 25 seconds left in the match.
Look at that. Okay. Brad should keep the ankle. He should lift now. As soon as he lets go of that ankle, they gave him 2.
There's 2-point reversal. 2-point reversal.
All right.
17 seconds left. I don't think Brandon has enough time to do anything that's going to score him 3 points.
Time winding down. Too little, too late.
The time is winding down, but you're looking at the winner in the red right there coming up, looking at you. That's Brad Varian, and he is the first Greco-Roman wrestler to reach the Real Pro Wrestling Championship match. There he is, the winner. He's in the finals, a 5-2 victor over Brandon Eggum. That's Brad Varian representing the New York Outrage. He's on his way to the big show. You won't want to miss it, and you won't want to miss next week when we follow another of America's Real Pro Wrestlers on his way to a national title. That was some incredible Real Pro Wrestling action with Muhammad Lual and Brad Varian coming out on top, going to the championship match. Guys, what do you think?
Tim, I think Real Pro Wrestling has found their neon Dion. I think Mo wants Mo prime time.
But you know what? I got to stick with my fellow Greco guy, Brad Varian. He has the full package. It's going to be a great match in the finals.
One of our reporters is with the New York Outrage's Brad Varian. Let's go to Brad with Tom.
Backs in there to get those takedowns?
Hey, it just doesn't matter. It's a lot easier when you can grab the whole body compared to just grabbing the waist up. So you just got to set it up.
So once again in the finals at 184 pounds, we have Muhammad Lual of the Oklahoma Slam and Brad Varian of the New York Outrage. Muhammad Lual, he's already upset the #1 seed. Now he takes on the #2 seed. How about the team scoring?
You know what? So far, the Frees have been frostbitten. For them to get back into this, they're going to have to score some big points. Eggum only scored 1 point with his victory.
And also, Rulon, the claws are also hurting. Hall landing straight on his head, injuring his neck. I even heard that he lost feeling in his arm.
And you know what? That's very tough. It's called a stinger. Dennis Hall's a former Olympic silver medalist and a former world champion in Greco-Roman wrestling. That's a tragedy.
Well, to talk just a little more about the points, Veering's 15 points he scored in this last round takes the Outrage, moves them ahead of the Hammer into second place in the team race.
You know what? Iowa has the big lead right now, but the Outrage and the Slam have a big opportunity to come back in this match. They need to score some big points quick.
Well, you know what, Rulon? So do the Freeze and the Claw. They have an opportunity to rack up some points and to go for that Real Pro Wrestling Championship.
Well, it's going to be a horse race as we head into the final stage. Next week, we move up to 211 pounds, where we'll see 8 more wrestlers battle to be finalists for a Real Pro Wrestling Championship. We'll see you then.
Coming next week, we move up to the 211-pound class as 8 more wrestlers, including top seed and 2004 Olympian Daniel Cormier, compete for their very first Real Pro Wrestling Championship. All-Americans, champions, and Olympians put it all on the line in a clash of the titans as the world's oldest sport is now the newest professional league. Next week on Real Pro Wrestling.